Whoa, did you get that? Oh yeah, you did get
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Okay. What do I need to
Fucking
click on?
click the link. That's the link that you need to share on your Facebook. Yes, please. But
Share it on
it's
my
not going to
Facebook.
do
Hey yo,
that.
when hey yo, what you think Josh Norman was thinking when he caught that stiff arm?
I
What you
think that
mean? What you
motherfucker
thinking?
look like. I think that
He trying to
motherfucker
make the
look like
tackle, got his ass pushed. Right?
Mortal Kombat.
Yo, he
When I saw his fucking his body and his feet on the motherfucking in the air, all I saw was
yo, like I immediately thought of the Great American Hero. Y'all remember that when he's like, "Believe it or not, I'm walking on air." I never thought. Yo, he had that man skywalking.
yeah. Yeah, I thought it wasn't as bad as the kick from the UFC dude, but I mean
Oh, yo, he hit him with that.
that
Man,
shit.
like he not even gonna be able to look at his kids the same after that. They're gonna be like, "I'm gonna go get Jaquan." Like
Yeah.
every time you try and punish him, I'm gonna go get Jaquan.
And all you gonna hear is
Keep talking.
finish him. Motherfucking stumble back and forth like 3 times.
His mama not even gonna look at him the same. She was like, "Man, you got caught with a
Yo,
spinning back kick."
how does D'Antoni get fired from Jeff Van Gundy, a motherfucker that got fired from the job previous to you getting the job? Like,
Man,
how
that's
did
crazy.
he like? Yo, we fired the wrong guy. Yo, D'Antoni can't win anywhere. Like all he is Peyton Manning and the coach in the coach's uniform.
Wow, wow. But I just got one thing to say.
What?
Let's
What? It's
start
time
the
to start.
let's start the show. Peace and blessings, world, and welcome to another edition of Phresh Perpective, where we give you a fresh take on this week's hot topics. And before we get into it, I gotta introduce the panel. Always, I start off with my man Bo 2.0. How you doing today, Bo?
I'm good. How y'all doing? Let's get it.
Hi, let's get it. Then we gotta go with the young and talented Mr. Courtney Chappelle, Mr. Worldwide. How you doing today?
I'm good. I can't complain, y'all. Let's get to it.
Okay, normally I save this brother for last, but he's not actually the one producing the show today. So I'm gonna go to the professional, Mr. D. Stanfield. How you doing today, sir?
And I'm doing really good considering the fact that I don't have to do that job. So let's get it popping.
Okay, cool. And then I got a shout out to the disembodied voice, man, Mr. James, for producing the show and making sure everything goes so smooth, man. Shout out to you, James.
Make sure you address that man properly. It's big game, James.
Oh, big game, James. Okay, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. But I'm gonna just get right to it, man. This week has been kind of crazy ups and downs, championships won, people getting hurt. But I got to start out with Dak Prescott, man. Dak bet on himself, similar to kind of how my old quarterback Joe Flacco bet on himself, and he was trying to take it to the next level with the season. Unfortunately, ankle got broken. Bo. Well, actually, no, I'm gonna start out with you, D. Stanfield. Is this a situation where Dak betting lost, he's not going to get his money, or do you think he'll recover fine and he'll still get that big payday that he's looking for?
I think I think when we say that he's not going to get the big payday that he's looking for, we equate that to basketball, and we think about people like Paul George and Gordon Hayward and the trajectory of their specific injuries. But when we look at the quarterback position, let's be honest, that his injury has nothing to do with what he does best, and that's throwing the football and navigating the field. So I think that Dak is still going to get paid. Is he going to get the $40 million that he was pushing for? Absolutely not. But I don't think that he was ever going to get that in the first place, and part of that is due to the fact to the organization that he is embedded in. I think that right now, the tears that you saw when he was leaving the court or leaving the field were indicative of him coming to the realization that he's actually going to get what the majority of people think that he's worth, which is really between 30 to 34 million, as opposed to the 40 million that he was actually pushing for, that he should have been pushing for, that they should have actually paid him because of the organization that they have and because of the fact that they could pay him. They pay Zeke, they're paying Amari Cooper. And let's be clear, when you paying him the franchise tender, it's roughly about that amount anyway. So, but nah, he's not going to get paid the same amount that he would have got paid if he wouldn't have got injured, especially considering the fact that he was putting up historic numbers. So I think
you know that's the. Oh, go ahead.
I think he's an underappreciated quarterback as a whole. I don't think that he's as good as what the stats are necessarily saying, but I do think that he's an underappreciated quarterback, and we need to give him his due. But he ain't getting 40 million.
Okay, and that's you made some really good points. So I'm gonna go over to Bo because Bo, your favorite team, the Philadelphia Eagles, is an organization that generally pays their players. They paid Carson Wentz early. How do you feel about this Dak situation, man? Did Dak mess up not taking the bread?
Well, I don't know who advised that, but if I'm not mistaken, at the time the Cowboys offered him the contract. Was it 5 year, 175? It would have been the richest contract ever for a quarterback before obviously Pat Mahomes' contract or whatever. But he should have took the money, man. I think what Dak wanted less years, and he wanted 40 million, and what Jerry Jones wasn't willing to do that. So now, do I still think he'll get paid? He would get a 1 year prove-it deal. So basically, after this season, he's on the franchise tag this year. After this season, he probably get franchise again for what his tag deal. See how well he do, and after that, get his big payday. But he still won't be getting that 40 million. Regardless, he wanted to be the highest paid quarterback, and everybody know Dak is not. He's not the best quarterback in the league to be paid to be the highest paid quarterback. He should have took the contract when they gave it to him. I don't know who advised him to turn that down, but he betted on himself, and I hope he get paid because he's a black man. I like black quarterbacks, but man, look here, man, it's gonna take him about 2 years for him to come back from what happened to him. As Gordon Hayward, as Paul George.
Okay,
He don't
Gordon Hayward ain't been.
He don't have to jump or slide laterally.
He's still gonna be getting tackled. He's still gonna get hit.
I mean, look, his shoe. It looked like his shoe was coming off, and it wasn't coming off. That's how messed up his ankle was.
Didn't the tackle make his ankle do that? It ain't like he just ran and that happened. He got tackled.
Cool. And so I'm gonna go over to Mr. Young and Talented. Just your thoughts on it, man. Like you said, Dak turned out a whole lot of money. He bet on himself. Did he make the right decision? Do you think he'll still get that same type of money, or do you think he's totally diminished his market value?
I never thought he was going to get the money at all. I ain't think y'all remember our arguments on here already. I didn't think Jerry Jones wanted to pay him. So not that he wished for this, but this is right up his alley. They get Andy Dalton. If Andy Dalton could do relatively anything Dak could do, now he got an argument of why I need to pay Dak when I could find clearly Andy Dalton at 32 to do what Dak do. So do I think he's going to get his money elsewhere? More than likely. He deserves a contract. He still deserves somewhat of a contract. I never thought he was going to get 40-something million. They say he was asking for it anyway. That was excessive. I was always on the table that he should get at least $1 million more than Carson Wentz. That was always my thing. Anybody who could remember that was always my argument. I never said he was supposed to be paid out crazy. He was the best quarterback in the world. I just said he should be $1 million more than Carson Wentz. Because at minimum, he's done equal to what Carson Wentz has done. And that was the standing contract in front of him. Outside of that, it's tough. It happened to Dak, man, but I didn't think they was going to pay him.
Now, Courtney, you brought up an actual good point, so I need you to rebuttal on something that you just said. You just talked about Andy Dalton, and I remember when the Dallas Cowboys signed Andy Dalton, you had some people like, Dak should have took the money. Here's his possible replacement here. I never saw that because I didn't think Andy Dalton was that guy. But to your point, Courtney, if Andy Dalton has a better than average season, will Dak Prescott continue to be the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, or could he possibly lose his job to injury?
If he take the contract that Jerry Jones want him to take, he'll be the Cowboy quarterback. If he don't, he won't. It's that simple. Jerry in the money seat right now. So is either going to take the contract I give you, or you could go out there and find it and figure it out. Jerry, trust me, there's some quarterbacks coming up that Jerry wouldn't mind bargaining some chips for or some pieces for. Believe that. That ain't Jerry. Listen, Jerry sell you a good dream. You feel me? And Jerry tell you a lot to make you feel like you a son. But understand this: he is a businessman first. So let's be realistic, man. It's some quarterbacks out here he would love to pay. You know what I mean? I told you from the gate. Tony Romo didn't have it. Tony Romo ain't have no issue getting his money. I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay, and before I go on to the next question, I'm going to throw that one at you, D. Stanfield. Is it possible Dak could even lose his job as the Dallas Cowboys quarterback?
No.
Possible?
Not within the next. No, it's not. It's not possible that Dak loses his job over the next 2 years. No.
Let D cook, man.
After he talk, I'll talk.
I don't listen. I don't even acknowledge what Bo says right now because he just got slandered by the entire Jerry West argument. So I just missed that totally. I hear where Court is going to go with that, but there's no chance that Dak loses his job because not only is that ankle not going to affect what he does best, but on top of that, he has the galvanized fellowship and structured leadership of that entire team. There's never a negative word in that locker room spoken about Dak. He's literally put it all on the line for that team. He's said all the right things. He's done all the right things. He's shown up every day. The only negative things that are being said about this entire situation are being said about that organization, not about Dak. The most questionable thing that you could say is that he should have took the money, and the fact of the matter is, they should have paid him. So, I mean, there's not a possibility that he's going to lose his job within the next 2 years. After that, all bets are off. It's based on productivity.
Okay, all right, Bo. I know you was chomping at the bit, ready to get some of that, man. Is it possible that Dak Prescott could lose his job as the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys if Andy Dalton plays better than serviceable?
Let Andy Dalton take them folks to the NFC Championship game or to the Super Bowl. Dak Prescott ass is gone. You understand me? I don't know. D must forgot who run that damn team. This Jerry Jones team. Whatever he want goes. Okay. If the Red Rifle take their ass to the NFC Championship game or to the Super Bowl, Dak Prescott can kiss the Dallas Cowboys goodbye whenever you get to it. Okay,
How about
Okay.
this?
whenever
How
you
about
get
this?
to.
How
So
about this? How
basically,
about
you
how
saying
about
is
this?
if
Before
basically what
D,
you're saying is
D.
that if Andy Dalton becomes Nick Foles, then Dak Prescott will become the equivalent of what Carson Wentz should have been.
Touche.
Yeah,
Whenever
yeah,
you
yeah,
get
yeah.
there.
Hey,
Jared Jones to get rid of him. We got rid of Nick Foles. We kept Carson Wentz. Dak Prescott ass is
Exactly.
up out of here. I'm telling you.
That mean that you just said exactly what I said. What I was thinking. Andy Dalton, whether Andy Dalton take their ass to the Super Bowl and win or not, Andy Dalton is on his way to fuck up out of there.
Shit me.
hey, can I
Shit
respond?
me.
Can I
Go
respond?
ahead.
Yeah, Courtney, get
If
Go
one
ahead,
more, and
Andy,
Courtney.
then I'm gonna go to the next
if
question.
if Andy Dalton plays Nick Foles, Dak Prescott ass is out of there. If Andy Dalton plays a horrible, horrible version of any bad quarterback you want to name in the last 10 years, and they get a 1, 2, 3 pick, and he might get
Dak Prescott
sunshine,
ass out of there.
Dak Prescott
His
ass
ass
is
out of
out of
there.
there. You hear me? Don't let this go bad or good for Jerry, because he gone. I'm telling you. This better go
And you know
mediocre
that.
where there's a decision to make.
If they got a
Well, and
chance,
I'll
if
say
they get a
this:
chance, if they get a top 2 pick, his ass is gone.
He gone. He gone.
Bo, real quick. That's a question that I'm gonna ask you guys later, and it's basically about players getting paid early or late. So I'm gonna save that for later. But right now, I gotta go
Okay.
to LeBron James. I gotta talk about the King. Initially I was going to ask about that decision that he made in Game 5, and I know how people was tearing him up. But guess what? Don't matter right now. He's a champion. So right now, I kind of need y'all thoughts on how do y'all feel about this whole championship situation with the Lakers. What does this mean for the Lakers? What does this mean for LeBron's legacy? So, Mr. Young and Talented, I'm gonna start with you, man. Talk to me. How do you feel about this situation with LeBron? I know all of the comparisons for him and MJ have come back up, but I need a fresh perspective on this because everybody's pretty much saying the same thing. Talk to me.
Who's
Courtney.
up? You said me? Oh,
Yeah,
my
Courtney.
bad.
Yeah, that's for you.
I can't. You blanked out
It
in the
said
headphone.
Mr. Young and Talented.
Shout out, Braun. Shout out, Braun. They got it done inside this bubble. When I'm not gonna hold it against them, because when we started this, I'm gonna hold
Shout
true to
out
what
to
I
shout
said.
out to the bubble. That bubble was dope. But go ahead.
Shout,
I'm sorry.
from as I started this with that
Fuck
this bubble was gonna be like AAU for grown men. And there was no excuses. Everybody had their rest. Everybody had their breaks. I didn't take all of that. Oh, I didn't want to be here and this and that. You ain't want to be there. You shouldn't have showed up. There was no better time than right now to be rebellious as you want to be and nobody judge you. So you was in the bubble. You didn't win. You didn't get it done. It is what it is. Shout out to Braun and them. They got it done. Game 5. I mean, anybody worried about Game 5, you basically expected LeBron James to do something different than he's done his majority of his career, bro. Like
They tore him up
you
after
just
Game 5, Courtney.
you just wanted to be bothered about something because we all knew he was passing the ball. Y'all. Like we all knew that. So that's not even an argument to have. Nobody cares about that. Shout out to everybody that got it. Shout out to Dwight Howard. Shout out to D. Waiters. Shout out to J.R. Do Nothing Smith. You heard me? He walked in with a black and mild and his hat capped to the side, and he left with some champagne and no shirt on. Shout out to Contavious Caldwell Pope. Shout out to there's a few people. Shout out to the other Antetokounmpo brother. And I'm gonna break it first. The worst thing in the world that happens for the NBA is the younger Antetokounmpo brother played with AD and LeBron James and won an NBA championship.
Thanksgiving
If
gonna
you
be
don't think
interesting.
it's not about Thanksgiving, see, y'all worried about I got a trophy before you. What you need to worry about is him telling his brother, yo, it was fun over here. The coaches was cool over here. Jason Kidd was cool over here. Braun and them cool over here. You might want to come over here next year. That's what y'all need to worry about. You worried about the Thanksgiving table. You're gonna be mad as hell if Greek Freak is over there. So y'all need to pay attention to that. But shout out to everybody that got it done, man. That's what I got to say.
All right, cool. That same question goes to you, Bo 2.0. How do you feel about LeBron winning this championship? Everybody, like you posted something on social media earlier. You was like, LeBron got 4, and he was already fourth all time on the list. So just talk to me. How did you feel about LeBron getting number 4 and them Lakers, man? I need a fresh perspective. Talk to me.
I mean, I wasn't surprised after the Clippers. After what happened to the Clippers, wasn't nobody else going to beat them. That's the only team that had a chance to beat them. I'm mad because I didn't get to watch the real finals, which was the Clippers versus the Lakers. I'm pissed off about that shit. But I mean, I'm more good shit, Brian. Y'all won, good for the Lakers. I'm more impressed by Jimmy because he showed me something, and I ain't think he had it in him. Good job, Jimmy Butler. I'm happy that you did what you did. I'm more impressed about that. But I mean, they won. Okay, cool. It don't do nothing for his legacy. It couldn't do nothing but hurt him if he'd have took another finals loss. He was already top forward to me anyway, win or lose. So all they gonna say is, "Oh, how close he is to Jordan now," but he'll never be Jordan. We all know that. Some people don't. This new generation
So
won't,
hold
but
on, real
he
real
won't
quick
never be Jordan.
before I go to hey Bo, before I go to D Stanfield. So you literally telling me it's nothing that this man can do possible to pass Jordan. And I'm not saying he's already past Jordan. I'm just saying, are you telling me that it's nothing that he can do to pass Jordan?
It's
That
nothing
sounds like
he
you don't
can
have no
do.
objectivity.
There's nothing he can do to pass Jordan. I'm sorry. You know why? Because he already
Why?
took the easy road to get his first chips. If he left Cleveland to go to Miami, he took the easy way out. You can't do that.
So you felt
Jordan
like
didn't
if
do
he
that
got his first chip in Cleveland, he would
in
be more in the
Cleveland without jumping
conversation.
ship. Yes, no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I tell you what. Hold on a sec. D Stanfield, I see you over there relaxing, you sipping your tea, you waiting to get some of this. How do you feel?
They all
LeBron gets number
appreciate.
I'm,
4.
I'm, I'm eating my popcorn like Michael Jackson did in that theater during Thriller.
So talk to me. How do you feel about the Lakers getting that? LeBron getting
Well,
his
what was the
fourth,
last thing?
Dwight Howard
What
with
was the last
AD.
thing you said? Because I want to hinge my comments off the last thing you said. What was the last thing you said,
For me,
Bo? Yeah,
I
Bo.
said he cheated the game. He cheated the game.
Okay, all right. Irv, to answer your question, yes, there is something LeBron can do that can put him in the conversation to pass MJ. You know what that thing is?
I don't know. Talk to me.
Stop
I need the
soliciting,
fresh perspective
stop,
on this.
stop soliciting people to come play with you and just win.
I don't think he
Stop.
can win without it.
He can't.
You know what? You know
He
what?
can't win without it,
Then you
D.
can't.
He can't
You
win
know what?
without it.
Then you can't pass MJ. The thing that MJ has ahead of him, and here's what people will tell you. The people that are novice at this analysis shit will tell you, oh, well, Mike didn't play against great competition. Oh
That's not true,
well,
but go ahead.
that's but they're gonna tell you that. They're gonna tell you, oh well, Pippen could have been MVP of them finals just like Mike could have. Oh, Mike only had to score 40. That's all he had to do was score. He never had to play defense and blah 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 blah.
Not true,
That's what
but go
people.
ahead.
That's what people want to try to tell you. What they're not gonna tell you is before Pippen was Pippen, Mike made this guy. When Pippen
Absolutely.
first got it, when Pippen first got into the league in Central Arkansas State, little bitch made. Real talk.
Migraines.
My
Mm-hmm.
migraines, back spasms. This what
Mm-hmm.
this
Talk about it.
this is
You all
what
right?
this is what it's taking. This is what it's. I mean, this is what it's taking you out of playoff series, B.
Mm-hmm.
Against the people that you supposedly trying to get over the hump over. But this is what we talking about. So whenever you get through, you know what else LeBron could do to get past MJ? When you know you're the only person that could stop the best scorer on another team, Stop passing that guy off to another defender on your team. Don't
Yeah, you got to
pass
switch.
KD. Don't pass KD off to Kevin Love. Don't pass Jimmy Butler off to AD.
That
Step
man
up,
passed
bro.
KD off to J.R. Smith. He passed KD off to J.R. Smith. Get out of here, man.
Toasty.
Yo,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
we need to talk. We need to talk about the whole story. Like people want to say, oh, LeBron got a triple double in the last two games of the finals. Bro, they changed the rules of assists in 2018. Look,
Speak on that. Go a little deep on it. Good point.
goddamn, James Harden almost averaged the same triple doubles that Russell Westbrook was averaging 2 years prior.
Well,
Bro,
talk
like
to me about that rule change. How
what are
did they
we
change the
really
rules in
talking about?
2018?
The,
How did
the
they change the
assist rule.
rules? So what
You don't
was the
remember this?
change?
In the previous assist rules, you could pass a guy and he can only take a legal two step assist to make a basket. When you pass that motherfucker, the motherfuckers now they can take up to 5 dribbles and it can still be considered an assist.
Oh.
What we
Oh.
really talking about right now? Like,
Okay.
and don't get me wrong. I mean, me and D Bird see eye to eye that the triple double itself is overrated because it doesn't generate wins. But I don't
Hmm.
I don't diminish the fact that stats in the NBA are still hard to accomplish. But if we're gonna look at it from that standpoint, then anybody that's telling you that a motherfucker all he had to do was score 40 points, they sound stupid.
They
All
sound
you
very
had to do was score
uninformed.
40 points against the best players in the motherfucking world. You sound dumb as fuck. So yeah,
Well,
going back to your
and,
question, going back to your question, Irv,
hmm
the things that LeBron can do to pass Jordan, those opportunities have passed him by. So the things that he needs to be trying to accomplish to solidify himself as a part of the conversation is go ahead and pass Kareem as the all time leading scorer. Go ahead and solidify yourself as one of the all time leaders in assists and whatever else you do, and then carry on with your didactic memory and your ability to break down games and become a combination of Magic Johnson and Bill Russell, where you become a coach and you teaching people the game and this, that, and third. But what you won't do, because this is how we identify Jordan, what you won't do is become the best winner in NBA history, which makes you the GOAT because 6 for 6 has passed you by.
well, and I'll say this before I go to Courtney because I kind of wanted Courtney to elaborate on something. I feel like LeBron is a GM. I feel like LeBron is the next Jerry West. His ability to put teams together, and he showed this as a player. I think is uncanny, and I think he will be phenomenal in the front office. I think LeBron is either going to be in the
Agreed.
front office or LeBron is going to be an owner before it's all said and done. But
He'll
Courtney,
be the Bill
at this
Parcells of the NBA.
right,
When he
and
leaves,
that's a
everything
good
will
point.
fall to shit.
And Courtney, I said earlier when the bubble started, I said regardless of who they play, the Lakers in six. And I know you kind of took except you didn't like when I said that you didn't like the angle that I was coming from. But just real quick before we go to the next question, because I want to talk about some of these new coaching situations. Just how do you feel about how the whole media is kind of talking about LA? Personally, I feel like the media only positions certain teams to be valid or certain teams to be important. You and I kind of talked about the importance of how the bubble highlights some of these small market teams, and I just kind of want you to bring light to some things. Who who stood out to you? Like I became a Denver fan watching this bubble, and I'm going to continue to follow Denver from here on out. But just talk to me about it, man. Some of these just
Uh,
small market teams.
well, first I disagree with D Stanfield. LeBron has one more way to really put himself in that conversation, and it's to do what hasn't been done in about 10, 15 years. But it would be something that Mike accomplished, which was three-peat his way out and land at six. If he three-peats his way out and land at 6 with everything, then you could reevaluate the conversation. And it's a valid conversation. Moving on to the small market team part of it, though. Nobody stood out that I didn't already pay attention to.
Even if he's not a major
contributor? Yeah. We'll get to that later, though. We'll talk about that, but yeah.
All right.
As far as the small market team, nobody really stood out like that I didn't pay attention to. I've been a Denver fan. They've been under my Bleacher Report watch for the last 5 years. So I'm a fan of Denver, so they didn't really stand out. It was more like other people got to see him. I followed Don, him being a Rick Pitino guy and me being a Rick Pitino fan, which is why I followed Donovan Mitchell, not so much the team of Utah, but following Donovan Mitchell, so that didn't really shock me. Clippers, Lakers, we pay attention to them. So like inside with the small market team, and then the East was just the East. They all small market for real right now. Like, nobody was paying the East no mind. So like nobody really shocked me. It was just more of the effect that more people understood that there's more players out here, there's more things. I think it helped a lot of people free agent calls. And shit, who knows? They might be in a bubble again next year. Who knows how this thing gonna turn out? So it was good. It was positive. But we'll see next year when everybody is back and the bubble got Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Kyrie, KD. It's gonna be a different kind of bubble next year.
Oh yeah, because you got KD, you got Steph, like Bo's boys is coming back, Steph and Clay and all them guys.
Ben didn't play in the playoffs of the bubble.
But speaking of coming back, Tyronn Lue is coming back to the coaching head table. I mean, coming back to the coaching seat. So Bo 2.0, I'm gonna start with you, man. How do you feel about Tyronn Lue landing a job? I know last week we spoke about Doc Rivers, but talk to me about this Tyronn Lue hire. Do you like it?
I'm happy for any black man to get a coaching job in the NBA. He been a coach before. I'm happy for him. He got the job. I don't think much going to change. They got to do something to their roster, or it's going to be the same thing. Now, me personally, he might not give up with the easy if he have it. Like unlike Doc, but I don't think he'll be better coach than Doc. Me personally, I don't. But
now
we'll see what happens. I'm happy for him.
Is he picking the groceries, or they got another person that's going GM?
What you mean? No, Jerry West or whoever. What's the name? For what's the dude's name? Frank. What's the little white guy name, man? Frank, whatever. Lawrence Frank. He the GM or the president or one of them, and then Jerry West the advisor. So if Ty Lue went on the it wasn't like Ty Lue went on the staff when they gave up a 3-1 lead to Denver. I mean, he could have helped Doc out then. He didn't do it. I mean, did nobody help him out? They all failed, if you ask me. So we'll see what happens with the Clippers. They need to find a way to get rid of Paul George. That's what they need to do. Because Pandemic P ain't gonna show up in the playoffs, man. Okay? They wanted Paul George, Kawhi wanted Paul George or whatever. They better find a way to get rid of him. Or they're gonna do the same thing that happened. We know he's not gonna show up. It ain't Doc fault Paul George shot that bitch off the side of the backboard. Shit.
Whenever you get through. All right, D, I see you waiting to get D, I see you waiting to talk about this Ty Lue situation. How do you feel about Ty Lue landing his job, and how do you see this working out?
Hey, they both said that Ty Lue didn't help Doc Rivers in his after he was up 3-1 in the last series with the Clippers, right?
That's what he said.
I said he was on the staff.
Okay. Was Ty Lue designated as the person to help David Blatt when he was coaching?
What you mean when
I don't know. LeBron got David Blatt fired.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
He was designated as the assistant coach to help David Blatt when he was coaching, right?
David Blatt Tyronn Lue is on the tape.
David Blatt with even though he was leading the division, was losing the teams that he shouldn't have lost to.
That's not why he got fired.
That's ultimately.
You know why he got fired, right? No, why he got fired, right?
Ultimate. See, what you're not going to do, Bo, is you're not going to deflect. What you're not going to do is you're not going to deflect.
You know why he got fired?
Not I know why you think he's got fired. The
No, I
fact
know.
of the matter,
Tell me why you think.
the
Tell me
fact
what
of the
you think I
matter
think.
is they lost to several games that to teams that they shouldn't have lost to. Players on their team thought that they got out coached, and he lost the locker room. And so there were voices in the locker room that said he don't need to be the coach. Ty Lue became the coach, similar to what just happened here, and they won a championship.
And you think Ty Lue
And
gonna take
so
the Clippers to a championship?
I don't know if he's going to take them to the championship. But what I do know is if there is anybody in the organization currently that can do it, it's Ty Lue. On top of the fact that, like me, you, and Courtney all said, unlike organizations like Brooklyn, the Clippers were willing to give Ty Lue what he was fucking worth. The 5-year deal he was asking for. So for me, I'm good.
Okay. He wanted that from the Lakers too, right? And the Lakers didn't give it to him, right?
Correct.
Right. He wanted 5 years
Young.
from the Lakers too, right?
Correct.
All right, cool. Hey, let Mr. Young and Talented get some, man. What's your thoughts on Ty Lue? Because you know you're the GM of the crew, so you know when you hit your highest potential, you might be picking a coach in the future. So, what are your thoughts on Tyronn Lue landing this position?
Shout out Tyronn Lue. It's a good hire for him. He was there. He know the people. He was part of putting that team together. He know what was going on, why it didn't succeed. He got a good, I guess, an apprenticeship version of the job he's about to handle. So who can knock that? I'm more excited for Chauncey Billups going with him. I think that's the X factor there, that Chauncey Billups will be with him. Chauncey Billups to be a voice in that locker room, and Chauncey Billups has the potential to be a GM. He should be an executive more than a coach. That is what he wants. I believe if I'm correct, that was the job that he was interviewing and being offered for with Cleveland before he had the conversation with Kyrie. But don't quote me on that, but I'm not 100% sure. But him having that want in life will not only give him a good perspective to be able to talk from a player's perspective, but from an executive perspective. We'd be able to keep it real with them on both sides of the spectrum and how this should be handled. Also, he'd be able to pick some good players to fill in because the Clippers really don't need a lot. They got a good core. This might save Lou Will. This might save Montrezl Harrell. This might save Pat Bev. You got 2 point guards who played smaller roles when needed or bigger roles when needed to secure championships for their team. So I think it's a dope setup how they got it going. I'm sure they'll bring in some more veteran coaches. I don't think the Clippers need a lot on their roster. They just need to move a couple parts, add a couple players, take some players out. Nothing to do with the main core, Kawhi. To me, Kawhi, PG, Montrezl Harrell, Lou Will, Pat Bev, Zubac, Morris, all untouchable. Those 7 untouchable. And then work from 7 to 12 to 15 and shuffle it. Move it in and out however you see fit that best fit the team. But I like the move.
Okay. Anybody want to rebuttal what Courtney had to say before I go to the next question? Anybody want to add anything on Tyronn Lue, or y'all satisfied with what y'all had to give?
The only one thing that I'll say is that I missed the conversation around the whole Chauncey Billups thing. I did want to echo that. I didn't see that coming. First of all, not from the assistant coach, the lead assistant coach thing. I'm like Courtney. I feel like Chauncey is an executive mind. Number one, I feel like he has an abstract view, very similar to what they thought Phoenix thought they were getting out of Steve Kerr, but really he was a coach's mind that just so happened to function well with the front office. But I didn't see that coming, so kudos to Chauncey Billups. I am I'm worried about whether, like, Bo brought up a good point. They need to do something with the bench. Like I
That's their point
discredited
guard.
Bo on pretty much everything that Bo said because he talks foolishness the majority of the time. But the one good thing that he said about this entire argument, which was strong from his from his own words, was that they need to do something about the bench. They cannot rely solely on their front five. That their depth is going to have to improve in order for them to be able to compete at the level that they need to get to the championship level. And if they don't, it doesn't matter what the fuck Ty Lue and Chauncey Billups does. It's not going to prevail in the playoffs. And so
And,
kudos to both of that shit.
Let me ask you a question:
Even though
if everybody
oh,
fully healthy, where are the Clippers ranked in the West next year?
probably right behind the
two,
Lakers.
probably number 2 or 3, but no, it won't be right behind
Hey,
the Lakers.
Top four.
It'll be commensurate. It'll be commensurate
I
with
did
the
have I
Denver
did
Nuggets.
have a question before y'all kind of went off in this direction. Courtney, I agree with you. Top four. I would even go as far as to say top two. But I really want to segue since we're still on a coaching and a GM perspective. Atlanta Falcons,
Hey,
0-5 start. Dan Quinn, hold on. Dan Quinn, Thomas Dimitrov got their paperwork.
I don't care what you do to finish it. I'm still gonna take it back. So
They got their paperwork. So I'm gonna start with Bo. Bo,
hey,
Bo,
let me ask you a question.
Bo, what's your thoughts, man, on
You got
Dan Quinn and Thomas Dimitrov getting them papers? And I mean, there's so much talent in Atlanta. They should not be a 0-5 team. So just
what
talk
kind
to
of
me about
talent?
it, man.
What kind of talent is in Atlanta, Earth?
Julio Jones, top 2 wide receiver. Former
That's not
MVP Matt
that's not the
Ryan.
type of talent I'm talking about. But go ahead. Whenever you
Oh,
get through.
wow. It's a family show. Bo, go ahead.
Man, that man just threw me all off with that, man. Jesus Christ. They should have been gone. I mean, I'm surprised it took this long. Them folks should have been gone. He should have got rid of
Arthur
Dan
Blank is
Quinn
a
after he blew
loyal
that
guy.
20. Well, after you blow a 28-3 lead, your ass should be out of here. You would have got my pink slip. For me, I would have gave shot. I would have gave what's Frisco coach name? What's his name? Shot Howard?
Kyle
Kyle
Shanahan.
Shanahan.
Kyle Shannon. I would have gave him the job right then and there after that shit happened. I would have. I mean, who cares? Matt Ryan gone next too. Don't be surprised if
Well,
Matt Ryan get traded before the season over.
Bro,
with.
you give him
well,
a
how you
job
feel
and
about Raheem?
he does the exact same thing the very next year in San Fran.
Right.
Who?
So, Bo, before I go on to the
Exactly.
rest
In
of
the
the
Super
team,
Bowl.
Bo, how do you feel about Raheem Morris getting the job?
I mean, he's just the interim coach. He ain't the main job. I'm happy for the black man. He been a
You
head
don't think
coach
you
before.
don't think
Let's
he can
see.
keep the job? You don't think he can keep the job?
Depends how good. Depends how good they do this year. If you me, if I'm a Falcons, you need to be tanking for. Go get your quarterback. Go get Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields. They both from Georgia. It'll be the feel good story. You get rid of Matt Ryan and you find a way to get rid of and you trade Julio and get you maybe a second and a fourth round pick. But you need to be tanking. You need to lose every motherfucking game. That's what you need to do. Lose every goddamn game. That's all I got to say.
Cool. I got you, man. Hey, D,
Hey,
go
Bo.
ahead, bro. What's your thoughts
Hey,
on
man.
what's your thoughts on Atlanta Falcons moving away from Dan Quinn and Thomas Dimitrov?
You know what my thoughts on the Atlanta Falcons are? My thoughts are with Bo and Court. I just want to know if the Lakers, Clippers, and Denver are the top 3 teams in the West. Who's the number 4? That's what I want to know. I told you I was taking
Uh,
them back.
I don't want to talk about that. Hey,
Go to State. Go to State gonna be top 4.
Okay. All right. To answer your question, Aaron, because I don't have the time to listen to that bullshit. I think Dan Quinn's firing was overdue.
Okay.
Not necessarily because of production, although production would be the main catalyst. I just don't think that he had the locker room for the last 2 years.
That's fair.
I think that as a head coach, when you are too arrogant to know when you don't have the captivated control and engagement over your locker room, somebody needs to relieve you of your duties or be in your circle to say, "Hey, bro, just just gracefully bow out." When you got a bunch of yes men in your circle, or you too arrogant to see it, that's when you get fired. Dan Quinn knew his time. He knew it, bro.
But hold
Everybody
on, real quick,
knows that his
D.
time that was
The, the
numbered.
the cupboard wasn't full, so I don't understand why Thomas Dimitrov, unless there was a package deal. But the cupboard wasn't full. It's talent in Atlanta. So why should Thomas Dimitrov get the axe?
Because
He been there
you facilitated the continuation of
It's talent in
of
the
this
building.
fool, of this foolishness, bro. You can okay. I got one for you.
Yeah, can I do this?
Oh, Court, just give me. I promise you. Like maybe a minute and a half.
Sure.
Bill O'Brien, right? GM and coach, right?
Hmm.
If there's talent in the building and you're responsible for bringing the talent in, but you don't get nothing out of it, don't both of them need to go?
In Bill
Because
O'Brien's case,
ultimately,
yes.
no, I
The
mean,
same guy.
period. GM, coach, you chose that guy, or you are that guy. Both of them need
Hmm.
to go because although you brought in the talent, you don't know how to use it.
Hmm.
So
I
you need
mean,
to
that's the
start from
coach's
the
job,
top.
not the GM's
And
job.
the usage, but you selected the coach. That's my point. Go ahead, Court. I'm done. I said
Okay.
I got 90 seconds. You got it. You got it, Court.
Listen, man. Bo was pretty much on. He was pretty much on par. But this is how you do it. First things first, Dan Quinn. You listen. You are a casualty to having to stick with the owner's boy. You feel me? It's not your fault, man. You're a Jersey kid. You're a soldier. You took one for the team, baby. You never talked down on the soldiers. You stayed in it, head down, and you fulfilled the obligations of your contract. And it's time to come home because we're trying to build some real up here right now, okay? Now, as far as the Atlanta Falcons go, the issue is simple. You got rid of the black cat, you went to the Super Bowl, you failed, and then you paid the human who failed a lot of money as a failure. So he lost any inspiration to do anything positive for you. The rest of it
So
was
you
a
putting this on
sell
Matty
job. You
Ice?
hear me?
You putting
Oh,
this on
stop.
Matty
I
Ice?
got this. Hey, I got this, brother. No, relax. This is a chain of people, but it starts at Matty. You heard? Now,
Hmm.
Matty got paid. He's the owner's boy. That's why he got paid. Clearly, he didn't get paid to be a winner because he just lost and he still got paid. So you created Roddy White all over again from a quarterback position. So that's why
Shout out to
it's
Roddy
your
White.
fault. Dan Quinn, it is your fault for at no time benching his stupid ass and telling him to be better. So, and then your defense kept getting hurt, which was the signature reason you got hired in the first place. So, if you're not doing the job you really got hired for, why are you still here? Thomas Dimitrov, you are fired for the simple fact that you chose not to listen to this little black boy on the other side of the camera when I told you not to let Cam Newton ass go to any team but the Atlanta Falcons. Why? Because Matty Ice needed some fucking fear. You hear me? He needed to understand that you can be replaced. And you can be replaced right now. But
Mm.
instead, you showed the boy love. You didn't get a proper backup. They fucking suck per usual. You still don't got a fucking backup. And your best bet is to tank for a quarterback now while Cam Newton is in New England hanging out. This is why all of those people got fired because Arthur Blank ain't about to fire himself, homeboy. You hear me? So, this is where we're at with it.
I
Okay.
admire that take only because the room only because the rumor came out that Cam Newton would have gladly come home to Atlanta, like without
Wow.
restraint, if they would have re-signed.
Wow.
Gladly.
So D, how you feel about Raheem Morris? You think he got a chance to hold on to the job, or you just saying another
No,
interim,
no, no.
another interim
He don't
Greg
have
Williams
he don't,
situation?
he don't have a chance in hell to hold on to the job. First of all, the catastrophic failure that looms over him because of what happened in Miami is still there. So no, he doesn't have a chance to hold on to the job.
You mean
What
Tampa
he should
Bay?
be trying to, yeah, Tampa Bay. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mix those two up all the time. Yeah, what happened in Tampa Bay, that catastrophic failure, he has no chance whatsoever. What he should be trying to do is cut his losses, make a good impression, be prepared to go back and be a coordinator, which is probably where he belongs, and then go be a coordinator with the guy that's going to be the next champion for a while. I don't know who
I
that
got a
guy's
better
going to
question for
be.
this. I got a better question for this whole panel, and I specifically start with Bo first. Not for any other reason, but I think you might shoot out somebody that I don't think about that makes sense. Who's the next GM and coach for the Atlanta Falcons? I have a coach in mind. I don't have a GM in mind. You tell me.
With GM, I don't know. Coach, Eric the Enemy might be the head coach.
I'm all right. Me and you share eye to eye on this
Yeah,
one. Fair.
but GM, I don't know who would be I don't know who would get the GM job. I don't know. But Eric the Enemy should
Do
be
you
at the
agree?
top of the line as
Do
the
you
next head coach.
do you agree? Whoever the next GM before D answer, do you agree that whoever the next GM is has to be innovative?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, hey,
Now,
Define
I
if you
know
innovative.
he's
bring in
not.
if you
I
bring
know
in
he.
Eric
I know
if
he's
you
not
bring in
going to
Eric
leave.
B, that could be nasty. But go ahead.
Hey, look, let me say one more thing. I know he's not going to leave. But can you just think about this? Atlanta tanks. Get Trevor Lawrence. Go get Dabo Sweeney whatever he wants. Give him whatever he
Dabo
wants
Sweeney ain't
to
going
come to
nowhere.
Atlanta. Give him a
He ain't
blank
going
check and give him
nowhere.
whatever he wants. If he can go, he won't leave with his quarterback.
Dabo
I'm
got it
just
too good
saying.
in Clemson.
He ain't got nothing to prove in college no more. He ain't got nothing to prove in college no more.
Okay.
Okay,
That's all I got to say.
interesting. Interesting.
I wouldn't be
Courtney.
mad at that. I wouldn't be mad at that either.
Now, Courtney, that was a great question. Who do you think should be the GM of the Atlanta Falcons?
That's tough. That's tough. Football is tougher because of scale. GM wise, this is what I'll say. I don't think they should go get anybody from Bill Belichick's camp, anybody from an older camp anywhere. I think it's somebody new. They need. There's a guy that worked with Pete Carroll. I cannot remember his name. I don't know. I can't remember his name. It's a guy that worked with Pete Carroll on the scouting side. But he coming to mind. I can't remember his name. But I just think it got to be something new. That's what I can say. Somebody in the
I mean, they
pipeline.
might they
Somebody
might
new.
have somebody homegrown that they go to
Very possible.
GM,
But I just don't want to.
but
I don't
that
think it should be anybody coming from trying to follow New England, trying to follow Kansas City,
that
trying to
that yeah,
follow.
I was
I
about to
don't.
say that Andy Reid tree is hot. That
Yeah, but don't.
Andy Reid
I
tree
would
is
take
hot.
Eric B. I would take Eric B. as a coach. But I'm saying as a GM, Atlanta got to stop trying to be like this person, like that person, and just be Atlanta, like, and
Right.
figure out whatever
And
that
you know,
is.
that's a good point. And everybody, you are tuning in to Fresh Perspective, but we are coming up to that time on to our final perspective. D, I know you got some heartfelt stuff to say, so I'm gonna let you go last. So Bo 2.0, I'm gonna start with you, man. What's your final perspective?
Um, Shout out to the Lakers. Y'all did what y'all. I mean, what we thought y'all was gonna do after the Clippers got put out. Shout out to Jimmy Butler. You proved to me, and I think a lot of people around the world, NBA fans that you're a top 10 player in the NBA. Shout out to you. And I'm just ready for the NBA off season. Ready for the draft. That's all I'm thinking about, basically. That's all I got
Okay,
to say.
cool. And okay, then I'm gonna go over to the young and talented Mr. Courtney Chappelle. Talk to me. What's on your mind, man? What's your final perspective?
Final perspective. Thank God the NBA bubble is over, so now we can get to the most important things that we should already have figured out, which is where anybody's going to go. NBA draft, which is deep as usual, and I, I just think, as a final perspective, I think we do got to appreciate basketball players a little bit more. One of the bad parts was that out of the thing we didn't speak of, one of the bad parts was the whole Danny Green getting threats and some players was getting personal shots took at him like, yo, it's ball. Like, I'm cool with you characterizing somebody because of the way they play basketball in particular, but when you start taking it personal and it's going outside and family and life expecting things, y'all doing a little too much. It really ain't that deep, man. That's
Okay.
all I got.
That's an awesome perspective. I'm gonna just be real quick. My final perspective. Shout out James and the technology and the job you did today, man. I appreciate you for coming on and doing your thing. Just to shout out, guys, if you like how the show is looking, reach out to the Stanfield management, man, and get some of this good work that we got going on over here. But just thank you for everybody for tuning in. Shout out to the On Point Network, and that's all I got. So, D Stanfield, what's your final perspective, man? Take us home.
So before I go into my final perspective, Court Bo or Ryan Sattler, defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. That's who I would take over Eric Bieniemy.
Okay.
Gotcha.
I feel like
I agree. That's cool.
I feel like he's a more innovative mind. I feel like he's just as in touch with the players. And I feel like he's a better delegator than Eric Bieniemy, which is probably why Eric Bieniemy was not taken seriously for a job already. That being said, final perspective is this. I appreciate everybody in this circle. I know Ice ain't here tonight. I know D Burtz has taken his initiatives to be to embark upon the entire emphasis of entrepreneurship. But everybody that's in this circle is a part of the Phresh Perpective village that has essentially become part of the Rise Up Family Village. I appreciate the fact that we are not yes men when it comes to holding each other accountable, not only in sports debate, but also in life. I want to carry that into. I want to take that same mentality in terms of advisorship, in terms of the people that follow this show and the people that operate in professional sports and entertainment. We are challenged with an obligation to do things that are not of the norm. When we talk about selecting coaches, when we talk about operating on investments, when we talk about making life decisions, a lot of people want to fall into the fold and just follow the crowd. But it takes special individuals to look at things, to say that those things are not right, and bring those things to the forefront. I challenge people that are watching the show to be leaders. And leadership comes with responsibility and sacrifice. Phresh Perpective is about looking at things outside the box with an abstract view and not being afraid to tell people that they're wrong or that you don't give a fuck about how they feel you feel differently. And so I'm challenging everybody that's following us, or that is involved with us, or that is involved with the Rise Up Family platform, to just be different, be better, be disruptive, and don't accept mediocrity as the norm, but push people to be excellent and be better than what the fuck they are, because this basic shit is time out for it. And that's all I got.
All right, guys, and once again, you were watching Phresh Perspective. It's about that time. Thank you very much for tuning in. Peace and blessings.
Peace.